And we begin with a story about glaucoma. And Vivian Werner is here to tell us. She's our webmaster, but also to talk about, well, her own glaucoma story, which you may find familiar or perhaps new.
Hello, everyone. Some of you may know me from the website. Can everyone hear me? Okay, I'm here today to share my glaucoma story, and I am a patient, not a doctor. And the up button, Rob. Next slide. He said the up button, the next button. Okay. Okay. In the early years, I had 20/20 vision. I was told I was farsighted in my late teens. In my early 20s, I needed glasses only to read. By my mid-20s, I needed glasses all the time, and they were quite thick, and I would hide them when I would get my picture taken, like, I don't wear glasses. At the age of 29, I was told I was a glaucoma suspect. I had narrow angles, and my pressures were in the upper teens. At that time, I had preventative peripheral iridotomies, and my train of thought was, ho-hum, I'll never get glaucoma, no big deal, my PIs will last forever. So life is good. Never mind, I have abnormally small eyes, nanothomic eyes. My aunt had narrow angle. I had two cousins with narrow angle. My uncle went blind and nobody knew why, and I had a grandmother who was blind from glaucoma and macular degeneration. But that didn't matter. I had my PIs. I was living life. Now, 3 years after my first PI in my left eye, on a routine exam, I found out my pressure was 35. My angles were narrow, and the optometrist took me immediately to the ophthalmologist in the same office, where I was prescribed drops to lower my pressure. Fear set in now. Now I was afraid. I went for a second opinion. I went for a third opinion with Dr. Rick Wilson at Wills. I went for those opinions looking for someone to tell me I didn't have glaucoma, I didn't need drops, my angles were fine, but everybody agreed, so I started the drops. The drops were not successful. Then I needed lasers. That was not successful either. Then I had a trabeculectomy, and that too was not successful, and the pressure now was rising, and I was told I had a malignant glaucoma attack, and there was no room in the front of my eye. The pressure was 39, and now I had the classic RSVP. Redness, I was light sensitive, my vision was decreasing, and I had pain. All signs of a glaucoma narrow angle attack. So now I have malignant glaucoma. Now we have to get the pressure down quickly, or I will lose vision. I had a drink, some sickening sweet drink. I was on pills to make my, they lowered the pressure. It makes your extremities tingle, and I had to do the ocular massage. At that time, my local doctor referred me to a retina specialist to evaluate me for a pars plana vitrectomy, where they do surgery and they basically remove the vitreous, the white part of your eye. But at that time, the retina doctor said, that won't help, my problem's all in the front of my eye. So then I started to see Dr. Rick Wilson. And I was given pills and drops, and we experimented with that combination until eventually I was deemed stable on atropine and Batopic. All I knew was the atropine dilated my eye. It opened the angle just enough to keep my pressure in the upper teens. So life is good again. I didn't care. I needed to take drops. My left pupil was now big. My right one was small. In the left eye, my vision was 20/50 with a pinhole. I needed a magnifier sometimes. I had no depth perception. I hated driving at night, and I'm light sensitive. But it really didn't matter because I was still alive and life was good. So now the left eyes, I had the problems. Now, 8 years after the first PI, my right eye, which I thought was my good eye, now I start to have problems. My right eyelid started to droop over an 8-month time span. And then I went for a checkup. My pressure was 28, and my angle was closed. And now I'm told your eye's a little malignant, and now it's called aqueous misdirection syndrome. And, now life's not so great. And now I actually become the defiant patient. My team of doctors, I had a team now at Wills and my local, and everybody agreed that I should try the drops, followed by the lasers, but the problem was I didn't agree. So I really had to be talked into it. And so I went through with the drops. They didn't work. I went through with the laser. It didn't work. And remember, every patient is unique. Repeat lasers. Eventually, I go for the trabeculectomy with Dr. Rick, and it too failed, like in my left eye. I had many lasers after that. I'm in a malignant attack again, also called aqueous misdirection now. My pressure's back up to 49 in my right eye, and I have the classic RSVP. So now this is an urgent situation. I remember it was a holiday weekend and seeing Dr. Rick in his Monument Avenue office, and I was given pills and drinks, but the pressure wasn't coming down quick enough. So I had to go to the Wills emergency room, and they started an IV, and I have a long history of working in a hospital, trauma center, in radiology. IV mannitol is a strong drug that I've seen used on head trauma patients, so I was kind of scared, but I had total faith in what my doctors were doing at that time. Now, I could tell the meds started to work because my vision came back, my pain decreased, and when they took my pressures, it was back in the teens. And I remember when the vision came back, I didn't realize that how much had gone during that pressure attack. So now what? I can't stay on an IV for the rest of my life. So now I'm referred to a Wills retina surgeon. And now at this time, pars plana vitrectomy was deemed, like it might help her. So they did that with a lensectomy and a lens implant because my lens was thick. So the thought was, let's take that thick lens out and put a little one in to give her more room in the front of the eye. I woke up in the OR in pain. I woke up in the recovery room in pain. I woke up the next day in pain. And to be quite honest, I still have pain in that eye sometimes. But it brought the pressure down. It actually brought it down below 10, and so I started to worry, like maybe I have hypotony, low eye pressure, which can be very difficult to treat. But eventually it came up into the teens, and everything was stabilized again on atropine and Batopic. And after that was stabilized, I had the droopy lid repaired, because it was quite flat and difficult to see. So life is good again. I'm on drops in both eyes. My left pupil's huge still. My right one is now small and fixed in an odd shape. I still am 20/50 in the left eye. I still need the magnifier. Depth perception's a problem. Driving at night is a problem, and light sensitive. But you know what? It didn't matter. I'm feeling good. Life is good. I can see. So now what? I'm living my life, and then in 2005, the left eye, the bad eye, as I call it, I had another attack on the drops. My vision suddenly decreased, and I knew right away something was wrong when it felt like cellophane was over my left eye. Went to my doctor. My pressure's in the mid-30s now, and the angle's closed. So now I immediately go to a retina surgeon at Wills for the bad eye, and we had no expectations because the eye had been through so much before. So I was really resolved for whatever at this time. So I actually met Dr. Mitch Feynman in the pre-op area the day of surgery. And we did the vitrectomy to make more room. The IOP was reduced. At the time, they took the lens out, my natural lens, and when they tried to put the new lens in, the muscle was weak and the angle kept closing. So they kept that lens out for 3 months. 3 months later, they put the lens in when the muscle was feeling strong again. New glasses, vision's 20/20 in that eye now. Now I don't, that's without the pinhole now. And eventually I'm taking off all the drops after refusing a couple times. And now today my eyes are stable. I still have narrow angles with some scarring. My IOPs hover in the upper teens, low 20s. That's a good target pressure for me because every patient is unique. That might not be good for you. My vision is 20/20 with glasses, no pinhole needed. I have no signs of optic nerve damage. I'm drop-free now. My pupils are both small and there's little reaction to light. I'm light sensitive. I follow up care with my local doctor. And believe it or not, I went from malignant glaucoma to being a glaucoma suspect again. So now you might ask, this was pretty traumatic. How did I cope? Well, initially it was with face-to-face, with family, friends, coworkers, and my doctors were a great source of support for me. Initially, I only knew one person with glaucoma at work before the internet. Then I got a computer and I learned how to build websites, and I built one for my friend, my local eye doctor, which I had become friends because malignant glaucoma, you're there quite a bit at that office. And then I guess he told Dr. Rick that I built websites, and then Dr. Rick called me and asked me to build a website for the Glaucoma Service Foundation. And I did, and at the same time I was out in news groups getting support because I needed it. And I knew that I could build a chat room on the website, and I asked Dr. Rick if I could, and he said, go for it, Viv. And I did, and the first chat was in 1998, and we had 8 patients attend. And now I was told my malignant glaucoma was very rare. 1 out of those 8 patients also had aqueous misdirection syndrome, which was, like really exciting for me. And also, Dr. Rick showed up, and we barraged him with questions, and then the rest is history. Somehow that turned into a weekly chat, and now we have chats the first and third Wednesdays of the month with Dr. Pro, and sometimes Dr. Spaeth or Dr. Myers, some of the other specialists will show up, or a cornea or a retina specialist. And also we have volunteers that help out. Britt is in the audience, who's another patient of Dr. Rick from a young age who helps with the chat room. And that's my story, and you can see now we're on the web, we do the chat, we're on Facebook now, and we're also in a private support group on Facebook, and you can friend Brittany or I or like us on the website, and we'll get you hooked up with that. You can follow us on the Twitter, and you can follow us on YouTube, and this will be on YouTube later. And that's my story. Thank you for listening.